Hey everybody, Matt here. It's going to be a little video on gun registration or a national gun registry. Put out a video a few months ago, I think it was about 5-6 months ago, talked about gun confiscations and martial law and that kind of thing, and what would people do in the event that something like that happened. And a lot of different comments on it, but about 30 to 35% of the comments that I got on there talked about how the federal government knows every gun we own, that when you purchase a gun from an FFL dealer and you fill out the 4473 form and they call into the FBI for the background check, your firearm is getting registered, and so there is no way to keep guns or to have any firearms in the event of a confiscation that the feds wouldn't know about, so there's no use in even hiding them. Now first off, I want to point out, that's just not true. Okay, and I'm going to go into more in just a minute. Second, it's the reason I'm making this video is because it seemed like about 30 to 35% of the people on this video thought that. Which, does that mean that many people, 30% of people in general think that? I don't know. Maybe they do. I think it is a common misconception for a couple reasons, and we'll go over those in just a second. But first off, you have to understand, when you go to the dealer, you fill out the 4473 form. You put all your information in, your information, nothing on the gun. Okay, they take that, they make the phone call to the FBI background check, the NICS check. Okay, and that's exactly what it is. It's a background check to make sure you can legally own a firearm. You're not a felon or anything like that. You got nothing on your record that would keep you from buying a firearm. Okay, that's all it is. If you will notice, they do not give any information on the gun itself other than whether or not it is a rifle or a pistol. And second, this is before you've actually purchased the gun. I know from personal experience because I've passed background checks before and then decided not to buy the firearm. Okay, so just because you passed a background check does not tell the FBI you have purchased a firearm, and it certainly doesn't tell them what firearm you've purchased. Okay, it is not until after you've passed the background check that they pull the gun out, usually out of the back, unless you're buying the floor model, the one that's behind the counter, that they pull it out and write the serial number and make and model and everything down. They do not give any of that information to the FBI. They do, however, put that on the 4473 form. Okay, so the background check is just a background check. That phone call, that's all it is. Second, the 4473 form itself. Okay, that is then filed away at the FFL dealer's location because by law they are required to keep that information for a certain period of time. I believe it's 6 years, but if there's any FFL dealers out there that know differently, I believe it's 6 years that they are required to keep that information before they can destroy it, but maybe it's longer, I'm not sure. The reason they are required to keep that information is, first of all, so that they can prove what guns they have and haven't sold, in case the ATF ever comes by just to check, randomly spot check, which as somebody who knows FFL dealers personally, they do that, and FFL dealers hate it when they just show up to randomly spot check to make sure that the guns they say they've sold have actually been sold, because if you screw up with the ATF, you're screwed. Second reason they keep those is for criminal investigations. If a crime is ever committed and a gun is found, they can take that gun, call the manufacturer. If it's a Glock, they'll call Glock, give them the serial number. The manufacturer can then say, we sold that gun, or that gun was sent to such and such dealer. They can then go to the dealer, and the dealer can pull out the 4473 form and say, yes, this is who I sold it to. Okay? That form is not allowed to be used in any form or fashion other than to help out a criminal investigation. And that only happens if the gun was actually found somewhere to where the police or the law enforcement agency in charge could get it and then begin to trace it. So if your gun is sitting at your house, it can't be traced because nobody's got a hold of it. Okay? It's just not something to be concerned with, guys. It's really not. I had people telling me, oh, well, maybe the feds don't really have a way to trace it, but legally, but I bet they do anyway, and my answer to that is, do you think they assign people to sit in and watch every transaction? Do you think your FFL dealer is selling your information to the feds? Because if you think that, you need to find a different FFL dealer. Okay, the fact of the matter is there is no system in place for either on the part of the FFL dealers or on the part of the feds for any sort of gun registration process. Okay, it just doesn't happen. That being said, some jurisdictions do require gun registration. New York does, California, I believe Chicago and DC, I think Massachusetts, but I'm not sure, and I believe Michigan. But 95% of the country has no gun registration, and even the small percentage of places that do, it has nothing. It's not a federal gun registry. Okay, it's a state or local gun registry that is required. Okay, so again, guys, it's just not something to be concerned with. There is no national gun registry. You know, maybe the way the country's going, somebody will try to enact one at some point, but right now, just not something you need to worry about. Anyway, that's it. Appreciate you watching. Questions, comments, video responses, send them my way, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks.